everyone, welcome back to a new What I Eat in a Day. I'm sharing a day on my plate with the recipes so you can give them a try too if you like. So for breakfast this day I had a yogurt bowl with some pan fried cinnamon apple and oats. For this I first peeled an apple, any apple will do. I then just cored it and chopped it up into small chunks. I melted around a teaspoon of coconut oil in a frying pan on a medium heat, then added in the cubed apple. I just turned them through the oil to get them well coated and until they slightly browned, and then I added in a quarter of a cup of jumbo oats. Now these do have to be jumbo oats, porridge oats won't work as well for this. Then I added in a tablespoon of coconut sugar, then about a half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a little pinch of salt, and then just mix that through the apples and the oats to get them well coated. I next poured in a splash of oat milk, around a third of a cup. Again, mix that through everything and then increase the heat so it gently bubbled away and turns into like a caramel sauce. Then once most of the milk had evaporated, I then added in a small handful of nuts, and here I added in a few crushed walnuts, a few crushed pecan nuts, and also some flaked almonds. And I mixed those through, and then lastly I just poured in around a tablespoon of maple syrup, which just kind of brings it all together. I used the Alpro Vanilla yogurt. I used to get their Greek style vanilla yogurt, which is high protein and a little thicker, I think, but I just can't find that anywhere at the moment. So this is the regular one. And then I just add the cinnamon apple oat topping over that. And this makes 2 portions really. If it's just me, I'll save the other half in the fridge for the next day. It's just as good cold on top of yogurt or on top of chia pudding, on any breakfast bowl really. I sprinkle some more cinnamon over the top and it is just so delicious. It's like an apple crumble all in one, especially with the vanilla yogurt, which is like cold custard. It's such a good combo. Some berries would actually work really nicely on top of this too. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, they all go really well with apples, so that would be something to try. This is literally just something I threw together in a pan one day and I've been making it quite regularly since. I'm also going to try it with pears instead of the apple. I think that would be amazing too. For lunch, you know the drill. I had avocado toast with mushrooms in sesame, chili and peanuts. I had a load of mixed mushrooms that needed using up in the fridge. These were chestnut mushrooms, so I just sliced those up. I also had some shiitake which I sliced. We get these loose from a local Eastern European shop. They have a great selection of mushrooms, packaging free, and it works out so much cheaper. I just brushed a griddle pan with a little oil and then added in my mushrooms. I found a couple of oyster mushrooms lurking in my fridge too. My fridge becomes like a bottomless pit sometimes. I just fried the mushrooms off until golden in colour. I next took this garlic puree. This is my new favourite ingredient. So lazy but so good. I squeezed around a tablespoon of that into the pan and then I just turned the mushrooms through it to get them all well coated. I then added in a pinch of salt and cracked in some black pepper, gave it another good shuffle. I then put a couple of slices of seeded bread in the toaster to toast. I'd actually bought a loaf of bread and then sliced it up and froze it. Something I did a lot of in lockdown so that no bread went to waste, and there's always some in the freezer when I want it. Then it's just so quick and easy to defrost in the toaster. I then mashed up a whole avocado on top of that. Next, I took some of this white Mousu Peanut Rayu. This brand does some amazing Asian style sauces, and this one is basically peanuts, Korean chili flakes, sesame, crispy garlic, tamari, agave and oil. So great for stir fries on top of rice, but I love mixing it through mushrooms, and I just add a couple of teaspoons into the pan and then turn the mushrooms through it to coat them. Then once they were done, I just piled those on top of the avocado toast with even more chili flakes. I also recently got a new juicer. I haven't had one for about 4 years and I love juicing. I'd made a big jug of green juice, so I just used the rest of that up, but this was spinach, romaine, cucumber, celery, kiwi, ginger and lemon, and it was really good, super refreshing, especially with the heat from the chili. I love adding lemon to my juices because it really just lifts it and gives it some zing. My lunches probably seem quite repetitive at the moment, but something on toast has just been my go-to. It's just so quick and easy, and obviously you can load whatever you want on top of it. The flavours from these mixed fried mushrooms with the peanut sauce is a winning combination. It's spicy, full of flavour, and there's a bit of crunch from the peanuts and sesame. A sauce that's probably quite easy to make from scratch yourself, but I don't think I could make it as good as this. It's delicious. Then in the afternoon I had some yoghurt, aka lunch dessert, more Alpro yoghurt, and it was one of these Greek style high protein yoghurts. This was the mango flavour, but my favourite is the passion fruit. They're just really thick and creamy Greek yoghurt texture, and then they have this amazing fruity compote at the bottom of the pot. I like to add in some extra fruit because I really need to eat more fresh fruit, so I just threw in some blueberries, which were really nice with it. And then for dinner later on, I made my sticky cashew tofu chicken with creamy coconut rice. I made the sticky sauce first with half a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of chili powder, a tablespoon of that garlic puree, a tablespoon of tomato puree, a tablespoon of a spicy red pepper paste, a tablespoon of sesame oil, a tablespoon of corn flour, then a quarter of a cup of soy sauce, a quarter of a cup of maple syrup, and then a small pinch of salt and a big pinch of ground black pepper. I just whisked that all together until it was nice and smooth, and then I just set that to the side in the fridge. For the tofu chicken, I then made another little marinade consisting of a tablespoon of sesame oil, a teaspoon of soy sauce and a tablespoon of corn flour, and again just whisked that all up until it was well combined. I then took a larger bowl and a block of firm tofu, and I just tore off large chunks of that into the bowl. I keep them quite chunky as they shrink in the oven slightly. Then I added in the sesame oil, soy sauce, corn flour marinade, and I just turned the tofu pieces through it until they were all evenly coated in it. I then tipped those out on a non-stick baking tray and spread them out evenly, then popped them in the oven to bake at 180 degrees Celsius for around 25 minutes. Meanwhile, I just heated a tablespoon of oil in a wok. Then I crushed, peeled and finely minced up 2 cloves of garlic. Added those into the pan, and then I took a green chilli which I de-seeded and then finely chopped that up as well. Added it to the pan with the garlic, and then I took a thumb-sized piece of fresh ginger and I just grated that into, and I fried the garlic, chilli and ginger off for a couple of minutes. Next I took half a cup of raw cashews and that sticky sauce. I added in around a tablespoon of that to the cashews and just coated them well in it. And when baked, this just brings out all of those flavours, as well as making the cashews really sticky but crunchy at the same time. After about 15 minutes, I took the tofu out of the oven. It should be golden in colour, and the corn flour just makes it go nice and spongy almost. I just shuffled the pieces to one side of the tray, then I took the coated cashews and just spread those out on the other half, and then I popped those back in the oven for around another 10 minutes to finish off the tofu and toast the nuts. I also then trimmed and roughly chopped up 2 green bell peppers, and then I added those into the pan and stirred them through the garlic, chilli and ginger onto the creamy coconut rice. And I took a can of coconut milk, just scooped out some of the coconut cream on top into a separate bowl. I then rinsed my rice. I did around half a cup for 2 portions. Added that to a large shallow pan with some oil, added in a good pinch of salt, and then poured in what was left in the coconut milk tin, and then a third of a cup of water. Stirred it once and then put the lid back on and left that to cook until it was slightly underdone. Back to the cashew chicken, and I removed the cashews and the tofu from the oven. At this point you can see the cashews are nice and sticky from the sauce. I added both of those into the wok, and then I poured in the sauce and just turned it through everything so it was all well coated in it. Back to the rice, and I then just added in the coconut cream. I know this is not how you cook rice, but trust me, it's amazing. I then just stirred the cream through and almost fried it until it stuck to the bottom of the pan slightly, where you get that crispiness, and also until it was just really creamy. I then served up the creamy coconut rice between our bowls and gave the cashew chicken one last stir through, and I just served that up on top of it. This usually makes 2 good sized portions. There's sometimes a little left in the pan, but I always go back for more. I just added some cucumber on top, sprinkled over some sesame seeds, and added on some finely sliced spring onion as well. This sticky sauce is just chef's kiss. It's unreal. So many flavors. It's sticky, it's sweet, and with the tofu chicken, cashews and peppers, it's amazing. I also love the cucumber and spring onion on top. It's so refreshing with the other flavors. The coconut rice is so creamy. If I'm not using coconut milk in the main dish and I'm having it with rice, I've started cooking the rice in the coconut milk. It's incredible. Alternatively, you can just add the whole can in at the start, miss out adding in the water, and it will be like a fluffier version, but I love this creamier version too. And for dessert, I had a bar of Nomo's caramel and sea salt chocolate. Nomo is my favourite. It really is top tier vegan chocolate, and this flavour is so good. They do a couple of other flavours, but their chocolate is just so creamy, so milk chocolatey, which is really hard to find in vegan chocolate, and a really nice balance of sweetness. If you haven't tried their chocolate, you really are missing out. And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. As always, I will write up the recipes in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!